Hello everyone, this is Toby with Birdsong Studios. How are you all doing today? I hope everyone is well. So today we're looking at the energies of the solar eclipse in Aries, which occurs on April the 8th. And the sigil for it came through on March the 2nd, along with a channeled message that I want to share with you guys. I did put that out not long afterwards, so it's on the channel around the 2nd or between the 2nd and the 4th of March. You can find that. But I will read it to you. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to bump the camera. I will read that to you here, as well as a bit of a refresher. So there's a strong feeling of electrical interference, like a rising up of electrical charge, which then erupts in an explosive manner. The discharge being necessary, but also causing disruption. This may be symbolic of the internal pressure we feel as individuals rising up and not being able to contain it any longer. As well, because of course, as above, so below, this will likely also be seen in a physical electrical disruption in some tangible way. Through electrical outages, internet disruptions, communication disruptions, we are being given an opportunity through the prior awareness offered here to allow for the release to occur, to not approach this time with fear or apprehension, but an energetic footprint of acceptance and willingness to flow with the process, the release. Through this energy, we will allow the disruptive nature of the release to subside and pass with less intensity and impact than if we enter the time and space with resistance. And what I'm drawn to here, besides the general message of the electrical disturbance and the explosive release of it, but I'm this feeling of this rising up of this internal electrical impulse that cannot be suppressed anymore is so symbolic of Aries energy. And Aries energy tends to be, it can be impulsive, and it's very fiery, and Aries is the I am sign. It is the first sign of the zodiac, and it is about the individual. And having the eclipse in Aries right now, we are being given this cosmic opportunity to just burst out of whatever restrictions or confines we have placed ourselves within, or we find ourselves within. And at the time, I didn't realize when I channeled that, hadn't looked too much at the astrology of April, and I didn't realize that first of all, Mercury retrograde begins on April the 1st. It is in Aries. We do have a planetary alignment where all the planets line up on April the 4th. Of course, we have the solar eclipse in Aries we're talking about on April the 8th. All of this Aries energy at this time, it is really, it feels like this, it's strongly impelling and compelling us forward into stepping out. And what I'm seeing is this we can get caught in the cycle of feeling like we continually need to heal, right? There's something broken about us. There's something wrong with us. We can't possibly take this next step because we're not ready. We can't possibly share what we know, what we've learned, our gifts, because who are we to do that? I mean, we're not perfect. We don't know everything. And this solar eclipse, I feel like, is going to be a beautiful, although maybe not gentle, portal or gateway where we, again, are either impelled or compelled to thrust ourselves forward just as we are, because there will be, I feel, this recognition for all of us that we're perfect just as we are. And that for those of us who are on this path of whether you are a light worker or a way shower, earth keeper, grid keeper, shadow worker, star seed. Yeah, no matter where you fall into that group of rising consciousness and those who are moving in that direction and have been working towards that and consistently on that path, I believe we're all teachers in a way, because whether we are consciously and intentionally teaching doesn't really matter, because teaching comes in so many forms. And so I really feel like this is a time when we are going, again, I'm getting the words compelled or impelled. However that shakes out for you during this time, but it will be a time, and many of you have already been doing this, but there's this stepping forward in a new way of removing any constraints or confinement that you have placed upon yourself in particular, allowing you to step out into the fullness in a new way. And the new way may not be so visible to other people initially, but because so much of it feels very rooted in your own perception of yourself, your own beliefs around yourself, your own beliefs about what your journey is, what your path forward is. And it may also be that then something is revealed that shows you a doorway forward that you did not expect. And it feels very relevant to this eclipse. Okay, so start with the elemental oracle. Let's just look at the overall. I have a feeling it's going to reflect what was just channeled and what I've been feeling. But I'm kind of but I'm kind of sensing that we may get some messages about how this is impacting the external world and the greater collective too, especially with that prior message about electricity. So let's see. Do we need to know about the solar eclipse in Aries, please? Again, we'll look at general themes. Purity, ice, card number 33. Man, I wish I had said it. I wish I had said it. I knew I forgot something. As I was looking back over my notes for around that time frame when I got that channeled message of March 2nd, there was something that came through too about 333 hertz, and of course, you know, the 333, and here we have card 33 with purity and ice. And again, I feel like this is breaking through that surface, breaking through the constraints, the restraints, the restrictions. Sorry about the glare. Let's see if I can get it. You can kind of see it there. The restrictions that have been placed around you or that you have placed around yourself. And then we have card number 37, magnetism, because and look at how there's a child there. This is, and didn't we talk about that in the last reading too? This is, and it came up actually in a recent workshop that I did with some friends. This, as we were talking about the eclipse, and I was channeling about the eclipse, it being a reset of sorts. Almost like a clearing out of what was the analogy that, oh, like shutting off your computer, you know, with technology. If your if your computer gets locked up, what do? We turn it off and we turn it back on. Oh, and that she was talking about that. My friend Diane was talking about that in regards to because we were talking about the electrical disturbance that may happen, and that's the way she was seeing it, and then that is so a perfect analogy for the way I'm feeling this eclipse to be. But with this childlike energy, I feel like this is those of you that are moving out of the confines and the restrictions and allowing yourself to step forward brand new as in a childlike energy, and that there's a sense of freedom to it. There's a sense of curiosity and wonder and relief from patterning and conditioning and even generational systems, structures that have been in place that may have hindered or slowed your progress in the past, on the path. And were blockages that your ancestors or your families, your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, your siblings, your cousins, you know, your family line has struggled with or been challenged by. And maybe in past generations they didn't have the knowledge, the wisdom, the experiences that allowed them to move past that, to release it, to heal it. But there are many of us in this group that are doing that work and have done that work in this lifetime. And it feels so with the child, and 37 breaks down to a 10. 10 is completion of a cycle. And so having this child here, this speaks to, first, I feel like the solar eclipse is very much a portal of stepping through and leaving those generational wounds or traumas or blockages in the past. And this is creating a new foundation for generations to come in your families. And it may be your children now, it may be your children's children, it may be your siblings' children. But this is creating the magnetism and the attraction of new worlds. Look at that. New worlds of experience, new worlds of experience and new worlds to experience. When we don't have those wounds and those traumas and those blockages, then literally new worlds open up to us. And then because new worlds open up to us, we're traveling on paths and roads and through skies that haven't been traveled previously. And so the wonder of exploration, this is what the work that you have done is opening up for you going forward and for generations to come. This is your legacy work. Wow. Wow. That's really beautiful. Look at the purple. The healing journey for each of us, it ripples out. It's not the work that we do with ourselves, for ourselves, on ourselves. It doesn't just heal us, it helps to heal the people around us. Oh, there's this interconnectedness then of the, well, that's interesting. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Let me see. That's not something I was anticipating, for sure. Not that That's an interesting message to come through here. An interconnectedness of crown chakras between who, though? Between... Oh, this is, okay, so I'm getting almost like a collective consciousness type energy. So the healing that you've done, the wisdom you've gained, not only has that work then opened the gateway for these future generations, but they are then taking that wisdom with them. The information that has been downloaded to you through your crown chakra, through your higher connections. That's interesting. Well, I'm just going to tell you what I'm hearing. It's not something not the way I thought that this type of thing happened, but what I'm hearing is that there's a remembering. Even, when we move from one lifetime to the next, we forget, right? And then we have to relearn things in our current lifetime. But there's something here about the healing, but it goes beyond the healing. There's something about the crown chakra being connected in a way, not physically connected, of course, but like as if the information that you've gained or that is accessible through your crown chakra, some of it at least is the future generations will have remembrance of that. There will be things that they don't have to relearn in their lifetime. I guess that makes sense when they're healed, but it feels like it goes beyond that. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's ask, I am going to ask for a little bit of clarity on that crown chakra connection here. What is this crown chakra connection? It's interesting. I was just messaging with a friend about telepathy before we started this. And it feels like that's part of what's going on here too. Oh, okay. Let me see what the cards say. It's because what it feels like is that just as we are remembering different things, one of the things that we are going to begin remembering as we move through and past this eclipse will be telepathy. That skill. And the connection through the crown chakra is that there will, let's see. I can't quite get my finger on how the connection is determined, but keep getting the phrase soul groups, and there will be an opening there will be an opening of the pathways between these crown chakra connections that were in place from prior lifetimes, and this is going to open with activations coming through during this solar eclipse. Oh, interesting. This will be something then that we don't have to remember or relearn with future generations. It's like once we step through that connection point, it's almost as if, how, oh wow, this is interesting. So how, of course you don't have to learn how to see, you don't have to learn how to smell, you don't have to learn how to hear, right? It just occurs with certain developmental stages after you're born. Telepathy will be one of those things that once these connections are made, now I feel like this is an opening point, this isn't going to be like an instantaneous thing, but once these connections are made and then we're utilizing it on a regular basis, then it'll be something that new humans who are born already have access to. They don't have to relearn it. They don't have to remember it. They just know how to do it. Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, and we have the Page of Wands, which is like about investigation, right? It is a little bit of research. It's about learning something. It is about seeking something out. And look at how they're looking through that magnifying glass, and we were just talking about that portal. I think it'll be something for us now experiencing this solar eclipse where we will begin to feel the nudges and the compelling or impelling energy towards exploration of this. And this will be, and these crown chakra connections are going to, we'll sense an opening, and so we'll begin to learn this new skill. Relearn. I'm sorry, they're correcting me. It's relearn this new skill. It's not a new skill. Relearn this old skill that we have forgotten how to do. Wow, really interesting. Okay. So let's look at we're going to look at the Star Tarot. We'll look at this purity and ice, this breaking through, and the number 33. And again, I feel like it's something that's been hidden. I mean, we're already seeing things in the external world being revealed that were hidden. Certainly, I feel like we're going to see more of that. We're moving into energies that that are no longer congruent with things being hidden like that. It's time for everything to be brought into the light. We need to have that balancing of the light and the shadow, as we have the balancing here. And there, with the white horse, I feel this great sense of quick movement and of necessity to charge forward towards the truth. Oh wow, we have the Two of Wands, we have the Six of Swords. Okay, one more. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune. There's another 10. Look at that. Yeah, because it's time. We have divine timing here. It's time for us to be able to move out of this space of divided pathways, and I feel like we have a choice here. We have a choice to keep things hidden, or we have a choice to move towards a place of revealing, towards a place of showing what we really are, showing who we truly are, showing and allowing to be revealed what has been hidden from us. And we have the orca here to guide us. The orca in the sky and the orca in the waters. And see how we're wrapped up in this canoe? And so I feel this is a real nod to when we allow ourselves to be guided by spirit through this process, through this time. Yeah, it might feel a little chilly. It might be uncomfortable, although we don't look too uncomfortable in the canoe. It may be dark, it may be uncertain, but we're protected. And we're secure and we're safe. And that goes back to that message about the electrical disturbances, right? When we allow ourselves to surrender to the process and surrender to, which is exactly what the Six of Swords is about. It's about surrendering to spirit and allowing ourselves to be led to calmer waters. When we're in the midst of chaos and turmoil, disruption, just like in the message, allowing ourselves to give it over to spirit, to not try and control the situation, to not try to resist it, to not try to run away from it, but to allow spirit, the divine, to lead us to the calm, to the peace. And I think that came up in the last reading too, to not try to stand up amongst the breakers because we'll be knocked over, but allowing ourselves to float, right? I think that came up in the last reading. So which path are we going to take? Are we going to take the path of most resistance, or are we going to take the path of least resistance where we are required to surrender? But it is time for us to make that choice. Interesting that on this card, the Two of Wands, we have the sign of Aries right in the middle. Look at that, in between. And we have the fixed signs represented on this card, the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, sorry, that startled me. Just a neighbor door. Which would be Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. The energy around this eclipse feels so varied in that it feels very mobile. It's not mutable, it's that it's moving really quickly. And so I feel like we can catch parts of it that feel one way, and then we can catch parts of it that feel another way. Because I feel like I'm getting kind of snippets here, but it's all the same energy. I think it depends upon each person, each individual, how we experience it. Of course it will. But I think that I have been feeling that there maybe those, and I think we're probably all have been aware of this, but this eclipse could be much more challenging for some than others. And this is, I feel like, why we're getting this message, to just allow ourselves to surrender, allow ourselves to step out of this place of trying to control it or even try to predict it, because the influence of this eclipse is going to be so varied, dependent upon where you are on your path and which path you choose from here. This does feel like a point of making a decision about which way am I going to go. And I heard something earlier that reminds me so much of this Two of Wands card, and they were talking about the separation between 5D and 3D, and about how we're getting to this point of those experiences or realities are going to begin to separate more and more from each other, and so it won't be so easy for us to shift back and forth from those two realities. Whereas many of us now may be moving kind of back and forth depending upon who we're interacting with, what we're doing, what we're interacting with, what energy we're in. And this does feel like a point of separation of beginning to separate those two realities out even more, so that that quantum connection is going to be I don't know, this is probably, as far as physics go, this is not an accurate description, but with that qualifier, that the quantum connection will be farther away, and so it won't be we won't be able to have to kind of dally in the 3D and then in the 5D. It's feels like a point of one direction or the other. And because of that, I feel like what I was starting to say, that this eclipse is going to be, could be very triggering for some people, because for those that are choosing to stay in the 3D, the reality or their experience, and I'm hesitating because this is hard for me to say. This is hard for me to say because it is challenging for me, my human, to separate this out, in that when I talk about these things and I get these messages of this type of separation, then my mind goes to some people that I know who may be making a choice to stay in the 3D. That does not mean consciously, but by where they are in their path, what their soul contract is, what they're comfortable or not comfortable in doing right now, what they're willing to take on as far as healing or not take on. So it is, and so this is part of the message too, for again, for the group who's watching here. I feel like you are all light workers in some form. And so I feel like we are going to begin experiencing that separation in the people and the experiences that we have on a greater scale. It's going to be more evident, I should say, in seeing how people are reacting to things, and recognizing how foreign that seems to us. I think we're going to see an escalation of that, where the choices that some people make will seem absolutely foreign to us, and that's what this is the physical representation of that separation occurring. So the message I receive about that is that it is for us to not judge that, because we cannot and this came through in the last reading, right? We can only support and offer unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness, but we cannot force someone, no matter how much we want it for their best interests, let's say, or for their healing, for their highest good. It's always up to the individual as to what they take on, and what choices they make, and what they allow in for themselves. And so it's even more important now, I feel, and this will become more and more important for each of us, to recognize that just as we honor another's choice to heal, we must honor another's choice to not heal, if that is their choice. And that's difficult, right? That's not an easy place to be, especially when we're talking about people that we're close to. So to keep that in mind as we're moving towards this solar eclipse. Okay. Whew. Okay, so let's look at what we can do to support ourselves during this time. How does that sound? I think that sounds like a good, yeah. I do, oh, we're getting a lot of channeled messages this evening, so I apologize for not having two tarot many cards out here, but we've got lots of messages coming through. So I have been, with all the other messages about the eclipse, the importance of sovereignty, the importance of being balanced and grounded and centered, of course, those are not unusual things, but I feel like it's going to take on, because of the power of this eclipse and the activations that are coming through it as well, we could very well feel a sense of overwhelm or overflowing energy. And so having practices in place that support us so that we're moving into the energy of the eclipse from a grounded and centered and a place where that is solidly within our rituals, solidly within our practice. If we have gotten, you know, the energies of February and March so far have been rather wild. So I know that I have really had to refocus myself on re-establishing a lot of those tools that I had gotten away from using to keep myself grounded and centered. And part of the reason why they are asking me to do this reading early is exactly for that reason, for all of you to have time, if you've gotten out of any of those regular ritual practices, break open that toolkit, okay, and dig into it and make sure that you are doing the things now. Get that solidly in your schedule. Do the things now to keep you or get you grounded and centered and balanced and in your own energy, solidly in your own energy, and focused on maintaining as best you can the energetic frequency and footprint that they talked about, right? Didn't we talk about footprint in the channel message from the beginning? The energetic footprint that you want to manifest and magnetize towards yourself on the other side of this eclipse and even through the eclipse. But it's really important because I feel like the energies and the activations through this eclipse are going to be really powerful, and they could catch us off guard. Not that I don't feel like there's anything negative about them, but they're so powerful that they could, if we're not in a grounded and really centered, balanced energy, they could create a sensation within our bodies that could be triggering and it could be very derailing. So, oh wow, we have fire, spirit, and energy. Well, we were just talking about energy, and Aries is of course a fire sign. Look at the electricity. Look at this. And this is all about balancing your energy, because we are going to be getting these activations with the eclipse, these activations from the sun that are, I'm hearing amplifying receptors within the DNA. Let's see what type of receptors. Well, they're showing me like the acids that make up DNA. But it's as if there's another layer that's unfolding. through these activations that allow for reception of another stimulus is what they're saying, but I don't know what that stimulus is. Let's see. Okay, this is connected to the telepathic communication we talked about earlier. This is a multi-layered amplification. So okay, let's see. Opens the receptor, which allows for a stimulus. The stimulus feels like the electrical stimulus, and this is why it's so important for us to be grounded. You see the electricity coming down, and then she has the fire in her hands. This is like, what I'm seeing is the solar energy coming down, activating these receptors, which then open, like her hands, to an electrical stimulus. But this all seems to be encapsulated somehow within that, the energy around the eclipse. And there is something within that there's something within that is connected to that telepathic ability, or the remembering of the skill. All right, let's see what else we get. Interesting, it's card number 17. Card number 17 in the tarot is the Star, which is Aquarius energy. This is part of the transformation of Pluto in Aquarius, I'm hearing. Crystal Cave, trust. Okay, so this is the other part of what I was thinking, or feeling. This is, oh wow, I've got chills. Oh my gosh, okay. So, I don't know how many of you, of course I don't know how many of you actually physically watched the solar eclipse of 2017. I did. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely fantastic. I am so grateful to have had that experience. It was really quite amazing. However, with this eclipse, and now I'm not telling you all what to do. I never am. Follow your own guidance and your intuition, because I know that there are some who feel very guided to watch this eclipse. The message I've been receiving and what I was getting with this information about the activation is to stay inside and to, again, it goes back to being really, really grounded. It's not to avoid these activations. They are not limited by walls, okay? So, but it is to make sure that you are not overwhelmed by them. So, and I don't think it's, it has more to do with staying grounded and centered, and it has more to do with the energy of the collective around the eclipse than it does the actual energy of the eclipse being overwhelming. But because of these powerful, powerful activations, again, we're talking about activations at a DNA level, it's going to be so important for you to be grounded and centered, and being out amongst the crowds, out amongst people viewing the eclipse, which again, it's a fantastic experience. But for those of you who, I really feel like for those of you who are here watching, though anyone I'm speaking to, I would consider staying at home so that you are not exposing yourself to that extraneous energy of the crowds, the groups, the energy, or any energy around the eclipse that comes from the collective, and focus on your grounding techniques, your spiritual tools that you're using, your ritual tools that you use to stay grounded and balanced and centered and in your own energy, calling your own energy back to you and not dispersing it and not being triggered into being caught off guard, off balance, or derailed in any way. So that you can take on the fullness of these activations without any after effects that may be challenging to move through. And I mean like emotionally and physically, because of overwhelm in your body and not being grounded, if that makes sense. So surrounding yourself with your favorite crystals that are grounding it's not a bad idea. And here's the crystal cave. Creating a crystal cave for yourself. Oh wow, I didn't realize this reading was quite so long. All right, let's wrap this up with the Diana Cooper Golden Age Oracle. I love this deck. Certainly so perfect for this time, this year, this eclipse. So many beautiful things coming in for us. It is our responsibility, however, if we are, I suppose I shouldn't say responsibility, it is our choice. If but I do, yeah, I'll take that back. It is our responsibility as we are moving through this to do what we need to do to care for our bodies and care for ourselves through this process, right? And so making these choices to do what we need to do to support ourselves so that we can best integrate these energies. That is the whole point. These energies are here for us. It is our responsibility to do what is needed on an individual basis to put ourselves in the best position possible in order to integrate these as best we can. Oh, and we were just talking about that. The crystalline light body. Look at that. Build your crystalline Merkaba. Merkaba. I always say that wrong. Yeah, and this goes back to those rituals, right? And using our tools. Calling your energy back and really building the strength in your light body and doing what needs to be done in order to support that. Caring for your energy centers as you care for your physical body. Or the flip side may be true for you. Caring for your physical body as you care for your energy centers. Caring for your emotional body as you care for your mental space. All these things that help to support your crystalline light body. We are more than just the physical, but it's a beautiful balance of the two, right? This definitely feels like a nod to what they were talking about the DNA and opening up these receptors, these new receptors that it's feeling as if it's feeding the light body through those receptors. Ooh, massive chills on that one. Yeah. feeding the light body, enhancing, amplifying the light body with those receptors as well. Interesting, and that would connect into that telepathic connection, wouldn't it? Because of feeding the energetic body and telepathic communication. Oh, I did it again. I bumped the camera. Is energetic, and so nourishing that energetic body in that way, opening those receptors, and maybe those receptors are receptors that allow us to receive in that type of energetic communication that telepathy is part of. Oh, wow. And then we have music. Bring yourself into divine harmony. That's beautiful. And this is that harmony with your alignment between your physical and your spiritual, your energetic and your physical, your alignment with your higher self. Your alignment with the frequency of, now they're bringing me back to that earth healing meditation, and your alignment with the frequency of Mother Earth. And aligning the frequencies, that harmonic convergence. That was in the last reading, wasn't it? The harmonic convergence between our DNA and the frequency of Mother Earth. All of these things are aligning. All of these things are coming into sync or into coherence. Wow, that's really beautiful. Okay. Whew, I think I'm going to leave it there at 20:20 on the clock. That is the time. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. I'm just now realizing that you can't see all of these, but I've shown you the cards, right? Yes, I believe so. I tell you what, I'll move this momentarily so you guys can see all of these in case you wish to. There we go. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, remember your tools. Practice them now. If you have been slacking on doing those things on a regular basis, please take the time to do that now, because we're going to need that. You're going to need that come April 8th, and that's a week and a half away. So we have 10 days to get back into the swing of that, to get your rituals and your schedule solidified. Prioritize that time, because it is going to be needed. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Please be sure to like, share, comment. Please subscribe to the channel if you are not already. That really, really does help to get the messages out to other people that need to hear them. And until next time, sending you so much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.